Coming up next on ESPN, the flavor has returned to Chapel Hill as Clemson takes on number 6 North Carolina. Then at 9, it's an ACC matchup as number 8 Wake Forest battles number 14 Maryland. Now, let's go live to the Smith Center for tonight's first game.
Or as it's affectionately known here in Chapel Hill, the Dean Dome. This place is pretty loud right now as the hot and hard-charging Tar Heels get set to take the floor against Clemson. North Carolina has won 10 in a row, and they're 13-2 on the season, taking on a school they have dominated here in Chapel Hill. Hi, everybody. Dan Schulman and Dan Bonner with you. And in a conference loaded with outstanding guards, we've got two of the very best here tonight, Will Solomon of Clemson and Joseph Forte from Carolina.
Dan, not only two of the best in the conference, but two of the best in the country. And one of the reasons they're so good is that they can hurt you in so many different ways. Will Solomon, extremely quick with the dribble, strong going to the basket, but a great catch-and-shoot guy, an outstanding three-point shooter. Joseph Forte, a very strong mid-range jump shooting game, and he can get to the basket as well. We expect these two guys to match up with one another on both ends of the court. This ought to really be entertaining.
And Clemson will probably have to win that matchup if they have a chance of winning the game. They've never won here in Chapel Hill. 0 for 46 in their history, and it won't be easy against the huge Tar Heels here tonight.
Pretend you don't see her, my heart.
Hi, I'm Jerry Vale. If you love mob movies, you're gonna love Mob Hits, a collection of 22 classic songs, making up the ultimate mob movie soundtrack.
I have but one heart.
Lazy Mary, you better get up. She answered back, I am not evil.
I eat Aunt the pasta twice just because she is so nice, Angelina.
All the songs you want, one convenient collection. It's an offer you can't refuse.
Mambo, mambo Italiano.
To order Mob Hits, call 1-800-883-3096 or send check or money order for $22.95 for CDs or $19.95 for cassettes to the address on your screen. Call me.
Your business started out with one location. You kept adding more sites to keep pace with growing demand. Now you're opening up a new kind of site, one that everyone can go to. Business is better than ever. Discover all that's possible on the internet. Cisco Systems, empowering the internet generation.
Remember Jared from Subway? He's inspired a lot of people.
He's still looking good. He leads the rest to 7 sandwiches with 6 grams of fat or less.
Subway, eat fresh.
Whether you drive a car, truck, van, or SUV, Pep Boys has your tires. Like 35,000-mile tires, 4 for only $99. And top-quality truck tires in stock from $49.99 each. Pep Boys, one more reason cars like us, people love us.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of NCAA basketball is brought to you by Pep Boys. Cars like us. People love us.
Boy, a lot of history to say the least. This is my first time here. I couldn't believe how many retired jerseys they've got here at the Dean Dome, but all with good reason as North Carolina gets set to take on the visiting Clemson Tigers here tonight. Head coach Larry Scheid, his 3rd year as the head coach, was an assistant for a number of years, then went to Wyoming for 1 year before coming back as the head coach here. Clemson a little banged up right now. Adam Allen's back there, big 7'1" center, not in the starting lineup, back trouble. He may try to play tonight. Chris Hobbs, who is from Chapel Hill, makes his return home in this game here tonight. And for North Carolina, so talented at so many different positions, and Brendan Haywood is having a very fine senior season. Had a huge game against Wake Forest about a week and a half ago. For Matt Doherty, the first-year head coach here in Carolina, of course, played here in the early 80s, part of the championship team in '82, and he had one successful season as head coach at Notre Dame before making the move south down to Chapel Hill. Gerald Boudreau, Curtis Shaw, and Teddy Valentine going to get us started here tonight with North Carolina getting the opening possession.
Oh, come on.
Forte Off to Ronald Curry, who has solidified things at the point for Carolina. And Chris Lang draws the early foul. Clemson playing in a part of the world, Dan, that they're just not very comfortable. They've won only 14 times in 151 games here in the Triangle, and never, ever here in Chapel Hill.
It's the Bermuda Triangle. If they
Sure
were
is.
sailors, they have disappeared in here.
There's a guy having a nice season. Chris Lang had his year last year tarnished by injury and illness, but he looks healthy again this year. His numbers have shot up, and he looks like the player he was a couple of years ago.
And his presence at the free throw line is indicative of the problem that Clemson will have all night. North Carolina going inside, drawing the foul, and Clemson that is just not very big in there, and they'll be in trouble.
Lang, who doesn't shoot it very well from the line, missed a couple.
North Carolina opens in man-to-man, and Haywood way out on Henderson.
And here's the guy you got to watch. Will Solomon, who's the leading scorer in the conference, misses his first attempt.
What Clemson wants to do is if they get an open shot in the first few seconds of the clock, they will take it. But otherwise, they want to run some time off the clock.
Forte misses a long three. Solomon a baseline on Forte. A little bit of a bump, but no call. And now Edward Scott, the steady point guard for the Tigers, will reset him. There's what you talked about. If they get a nice early look, take it. If not, run your offense.
And Joseph Forte matched up against Will Solomon on the defensive end of the court. And a 3-second violation called against the Tigers. When North Carolina has the ball, I noticed in the man-to-man defense, Solomon was matched up against Ronald Curry. So Solomon not trying to guard Forte, but the other way around, Forte, whose defense has really improved, is going to match up against Will Solomon.
Curry not as much of an offensive threat, obviously, as Forte is. Capel left open on the baseline, and Carolina takes the early lead.
Everybody talks about what Peppers and Curry have done for North Carolina and the games that Haywood has had and Joseph Forte. People forget sometimes about Jason Capel.
Yeah.
He is an outstanding player. A guy who's capable of lighting you up for 30 if you don't defend him effectively.
Well, like a guy we talked about last night, Nate James for Duke. Sometimes he gets overlooked. Haywood comes out, shot clock under 10. Tough shot for Scott. It's way off. And it's Capel who comes up with a loose ball.
That's really effective defense by North Carolina. Ronald Curry doing a great job putting pressure on the ball.
Inside for Haywood, and he missed a short one. Boy, you never see that. Fresh 35 for the Tar Heels.
There's Edward Scott matched up against Joseph Forte.
Forte's got a pretty good size advantage there.
Forte sometimes falls into the trap of standing outside and shooting threes, and that's a guy who can stand outside and shoot threes with the best of them.
Capel with all 5. Larry Shyatt at practice today. It seemed that when in doubt, they were obviously going to follow Forte around, and if necessary, lay off Curry a bit or lay off Capel a bit. Capel's hurt them early. Got a hole down on the perimeter.
Keep in mind that Jason Capel is a guy who shoots almost 40% from beyond the three-point arc. In fact, of the North Carolina regulars, he has the highest three-point field goal percentage for Matt Doherty's squad.
Pick your poison, I guess, if you're Clemson. Who do you lay off? Well, no doubt about who you got to cover on the other side.
You don't lay off him. Joseph Forte just got a step too far away from Will Solomon.
Solomon is averaging 21 points per game to lead the ACC. Forte kicks it back out. Curry to Capel for 3. And a strong rebound underneath by Hobbs.
Good block out. And a good decision by Lang to not go after that rebound. He would have gotten a foul call.
What a crossover by Solomon. He's tied the game.
And that's why he's so good. He just pulled up and hit the 3, so you got to get close to him. But then he gives you that crossover, so you can back off to defend the drive to the basket, and he nails it.
Capel left alone again. A little bit too strong.
Capel's getting all the shots.
Yep. DeJuan Clifton passes it off to Solomon, junior out of East Hartford. Over Forte. Look at the rebound by Clifton, but he lost the handle.
He had it with one hand, but Chris Lang had 2 on it, and that's a mismatch.
Nice feed from Curry into Capel. Now Forte. And Clemson comes out of it. The team very sharp in the early going offensively.
And Larry Shyatt wants a timeout.
Capel with 5, Solomon with 5. Tie game.
ESPN and ESPN2, home of the Women's NCAA Championship.
Excuse me, this is my cab.
I'm sorry.
Can we share a cab?
Why not?
You're with Fidelity.
That's right.
Let me ask you something. I still have a 401k from a job that I had 3 jobs ago. Can I move that?
Oh, most of the time, sure. It's called a rollover.
Really?
We can do all the paperwork, and you just sign and roll it into an IRA, and you can buy stocks or mutual funds, whatever you're comfortable with.
And I'd be in control of it?
Sure.
Get my life down to 1 sheet of paper.
To invest, call, click, or visit Fidelity.
As you can see, the DNA sweeps through the cell after meiosis. This ensures proper dispersal of...
Can't get enough football? Grab a Miller Lite, and any time is Miller time.
Proper dispersal of the genetic code.
The Super Bowl's coming. Make room for Miller Lite inflatable chairs. Enter to win them wherever you buy Miller Lite or at superbowl.com.
Guys, there's a couch just like mine downstairs.
You started saving for your kids' college education before they were born. Your wife still thinks of you as her knight in shining armor. And the neighbors know your door is always open. So it comes as no surprise that your auto parts are AC Delco. When the right way is the only way. AC Delco Automotive Parts.
Back in Chapel Hill, tied at 5. As mentioned, Clemson has never won here in Chapel Hill. 0 for 46. Here are Larry Shiatt's thoughts on that.
It is reminded about 48 hours before each time we come up here. And besides that, not much talk about it. I think the players understand. I think they need to be reminded from time to time because I think it can serve as a motivational factor. At the same time, it's simply one of our 30 games.
And most of the players here have either never played here or only were part of 1 or 2, so, you know.
They haven't lost 46.
No,
You're
not their
absolutely
problem.
right.
Trap on Solomon, gets out of it. Scott finally will take the open shot, and O'Barian, a long 2 for Edward Scott, who didn't seem to want to take it initially.
That was very interesting. Will Solomon actually hollered timeout, timeout, and then changed his mind when he punched through that double team, and there Haywood gets fouled on the inside. So a break for Clemson that the officials didn't hear Solomon asking for a timeout.
It's going to be very interesting to see how Clemson defends Brendan Haywood. He just has so much size on anybody who's in the game for Clemson. Thomas Nagis, who has come into the game, a sophomore from Lithuania, has picked up the foul, his first. But especially if Adam Allen's back can't answer the bell tonight for the Tigers, Larry Shiatt may run out of big bodies before this game is over.
And he may, Allen's back said he was going to give it a try tonight, and Larry Shiatt may wait until he begins to run out of those bodies before he puts Allen's back in the game.
1 for 2 from the line, and the rebound to Nagis. Tony Stockman into the game, and he misses the open 3. He's a little bit behind the defense there. He's a very good-looking freshman who's second on Clemson in scoring.
That's a fumble that
yeah.
ran down.
Forte. Curry takes the 3 and hits it, and that's a good sign for North Carolina. He's the quarterback on the football team, and they're 8-0 since he moved into the starting lineup. A foul on Capel will send Henderson to the line for the Tigers.
You know, the interesting thing about Curry is a lot of people have decided that we're going to slough off and let him shoot the 3, but we mentioned Capel's a 40% three-point shooter. He's a 39% three-point shooter. He's not bad out there, particularly when you give him that much room and that much time.
Big Ray Henderson at the line, a sophomore from Charlotte. 3 of Clemson starters tonight come from the state of North Carolina, so this is obviously a significant place for them to come play.
When Chris Hobbs, the guy who started at center for him in place of Allen's back, Hobbs in his junior year in high school actually made a 3-point shot on this court to win the state championship.
From East Chapel Hill High.
And when that was reported to the Clemson coaches, their reaction was, Hobbs made a 3?
Back to Chapel Hill in a moment.
1-800-COLLECT presents Ava Savala and Jeremy McGrath.
Hey, champ. Need to make a call?
Yeah, and I don't have any change. No pockets.
Ever hear of 1-800-COLLECT?
Are you kidding me?
So you know it saves at least $1 or $2.
And it's easy to remember.
So for your collect call...
I'm dialing 1-800-COLLECT.
Smart boy.
Hey, you been riding long?
It's my first time.
1-800-COLLECT. Save $1 or $2.
Boy, I miss playing.
Don't worry, man. You can still win it all. Just collect these game cards from specially marked packages of Frito-Lay snacks. Match the play in the card to a play in the Super Bowl, and you could win millions of prizes.
Hey, I just won 2 Super Bowl tickets for life.
Play Frito-Lays. Find the winning plays game.
After a big win, the football team usually dumps a bucket of ice water on the coach. Now, I thought, why not 7-Up? Ooh, maybe next time we'll take it out of the cans.
Sure. Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yeah. I'll get it done.
Carolina by 1 here early in Chapel Hill. These two schools, of course, met in football as well. And there's a real football feeling here tonight because Ronald Curry, the starting point guard, also the starting quarterback for North Carolina. Touchdown by him gave the Tar Heels a 17-0 lead, but then back came Clemson after QB Woody Dantzler got hurt. Freshman Willie Simmons threw 4 TD passes, and the Tigers rallied to win 38-24. Of course, Carolina's got not only Ronald Curry, but Julius Peppers now part of the basketball team. As Forte hits a shot, although Matt Doherty will tell you, Curry and Peppers are more than football players who are playing basketball. They're tremendous athletes who excel in both sports. Turnover on Clemson.
The amazing thing to me about Julius Peppers is that he can come in and play so well so quickly. This guy, there's no way that he's working on his basketball game in between seasons. No, you got to be kidding me.
But he was an all-state player in basketball as a high school senior, and Curry was a McDonald's All-American in basketball. Forte with a couple of quick buckets. He's heating up, and the lead is 6.
Clemson in his zone defense, and in that zone, you're really concerned about the inside game, and makes it tough to get out and guard the guys on the perimeter.
All 3 perimeter players have hit early for Carolina. Solomon unselfishly off to McGeese. Hayward with a block.
McGeese has to be ready to shoot that ball when he catches it. Solomon put that ball right in his hands, and McGeese fumbled.
Dustin Braddock's coming to the game now for Clemson. They've got a very small team on the floor.
And they're struggling for shots. That was not a good-looking offensive set for Clemson.
Now the guy to watch may be Chris Lang at 6'11". If everybody collapses on Hayward, who's going to cover Lang?
Stockman.
Stockman stripped him. A little bit out of control. Back comes Curry. Forte, the pull-up, and the 3 is there as McGeese backed off to protect the basket. A 12-1 run for Carolina and another timeout for Clemson.
North Carolina is a team that plays well in transition, and their best transition opportunities are off block shots and turnovers. And here Ronald Curry finds Joseph Forte. McGeese is the only guy back. He has to drop off. Forte knocks it down. That was in transition. This is in the set offense. Forte, we told you, with the great mid-range shooting ability, but also the three-point shooting ability. He's lighting it up.
And he's got the last 8 points for Carolina. Look at what North Carolina's doing from outside. 4 for 6 early.
The impressive thing about North Carolina early, they have the tremendous advantage size-wise on the inside, but they're not trying to force things in there. As the defense has collapsed, they've taken good open shots from the perimeter.
Larry Scheid has made some changes. He's put Ray Henderson and Chris Hobbs back into the game. A little more muscle to go with those 3 small guards.
Solomon has to handle the ball and be able to score, and right there bangs down the 3.
He has unlimited range, and if you go out on him, he's quick enough to get by him. Solomon with 8 early.
And keep in mind that Solomon has been basically this season a second half player. He's averaged about 8 points a game in the first half and about 14 points a game in the second half. Against North Carolina State, he had 29, 25 in the second half. So it's bad news for North Carolina if he gets going early.
9 times in his career, he's had 20 or more points in a half, and every single time it's been in the second half of a game. Max Owens off the bench, misses his first shot, but then runs it down. Henderson just didn't see him.
You can't get in a panic with the ball. Henderson wanted to get rid of the ball. Wait till everybody clears.
Curry left alone will miss his second of 3 after hitting one earlier, and it's Clemson ball.
And Clemson has changed their defense. They're in a diamond and 1, where 4 guys are playing zone, and Scott was guarding Forte man-to-man. North Carolina stays in the man-to-man.
Carolina a little bit smaller now, with Owens replacing Hayward on the floor. So Lang's the big guy. Henderson, and Lang got a piece of it.
And North Carolina really looking to push it up. And now Clemson back in a straight zone.
Lang draws the foul on Henderson inside. That'll be his first.
I think they got Hobbs.
Did they?
And that's Hobbs' second personal foul. So this is exactly what you were talking about earlier, Tim. Larry Shiat short on big guys inside. Allen's back sitting on the bench. And Hobbs already with 2 personal fouls.
And you have to wonder what the emotions are for Hobbs right now as he's going to come out of this game.
Well, it's got to be difficult for him to come back. This is his hometown. His parents both attended the University of North Carolina. Family members did. He's got a lot of friends in the community. It's got to be very difficult. North Carolina didn't recruit him. So he feels like he has something to prove as well.
Well, to add a little bit more spice to the story, his dad, Greg, is a camera operator in this building. He's one of the guys who gets highlights for the video screens here, and he's 4 feet away from us. There he is, and you can imagine what his emotions must be like tonight. He was a popular guy being interviewed before the game. So this is going to be a tough day on the job. He's really going to have to concentrate tonight. Henderson inside, gets the roll.
And that's a nice job by Solomon to recognize the opening.
And Boone has come to the game at the point now for Carolina, giving Curry a breather. Capel.
That strategy against Capel has worked pretty well so far. They were in the diamond and 1 again.
Solomon picks up his dribble, finds DeJuan Clifton back into the game. Very young Clemson team, especially with Allen's back unavailable. Solomon can create his own shot whenever he wants to.
And that Solomon simply has to have the ball in his hands. He doesn't have to shoot it every time. He's got to handle it every time down.
He has 10 of Clemson's 15. Adam Boone responds with a 3, the freshman from Minneapolis. He was the starter at the point at the beginning of the season. Solomon a miss. McGee's good rebound. And Lang got him hard.
And Will Solomon pointing at his chest, smacking himself on the head. That was a very difficult shot that he took. He's got to recognize when the defense comes and does a good job, he's got to pass the ball. He doesn't want to get in the situation where he's forcing shots. North Carolina very dangerous if you take the quick shot. They get the rebound and they really get down the court quickly.
At the line, Thomas Nagis, 6'9", sophomore from Lithuania. Getting about 11 minutes per game. 2 points, 3 rebounds thereabouts. Wholesale changes now for Carolina with Hayward coming back in. Julius Peppers into the game for the first time. Brian Morrison on the floor as well. A lot of depth for Matt Doherty.
And that's the other thing you have to remember about North Carolina. They've gone through some years here recently where they haven't had good depth, but they've got good depth this season, particularly now with Curry and Peppers on the team. They can be very flexible.
That's why they've won 10 in a row. Have the lead here on Clemson thanks to a good early start from their leading scorer, Joseph Forte.
Do you suffer from low back or hip pain morning after morning? Medical experts agree a pillow between your legs could be the best solution. But what a hassle. Too big, goes flat. Introducing the Contour Leg Pillow to give you relief without the hassle. Look, no leg support can put strain on the hips, knees, and pushes your lower back out of alignment. But the Contour Leg Pillow comfortably supports, restoring natural alignment. Relax back muscles, relieve strain on hips, knees, and joints. The curve fits your leg so it comfortably stays with you all night. Call now to get lower back, hip, and knee comfort with a Contour Leg Pillow. Now only $14.95, and will include the world-famous Contour Pillow for head, neck, and shoulder comfort. A $20 value free. That's a $40 head-to-toe comfort value for just $14.95.
Call 1-800-869-3223 to order the leg pillow and get the Contour Pillow free. That's 1-800-869-3223.
Sports Century is only on ESPN Classic tomorrow at 8.
Bill Walton was a control tower to whom you ran both your offense and your defense.
He was hippie. It was known that he smoked the weed.
I don't think anyone could match Bill Walton when he was at his peak.
Bill Walton, Sports Century, the top 50 and beyond. Every weeknight at 8 Eastern, 9 Pacific. Only on ESPN Classic. You can only see Sports Century by calling 1-800-CLASSIC today.
So much history, so many banners here in Chapel Hill. Sometimes the game is tough to focus on. Here's Will Solomon on playing in Carolina.
Well, it's just a tradition in Carolina. I think everybody get caught up in a tradition. And, you know, especially when you get here, you see all the banners and the jerseys hanging up. And then you have the fans on your back. And then, you know, the game that you have to play. So you just come out nervous off the top.
So you think of tradition and banners and retired numbers. You got to remember there are 5 live guys on the floor playing against you here tonight.
They're all pretty good.
Yeah, they are.
You can talk all you want about the mystique of the building, but the main mystique of any building is the 5 guys on the court in white uniforms. And what a play by Peppers. My goodness, Larry Shyatt is beside himself, telling the referees that Peppers was over the back.
Adam Allen's back into the game for the first time, and now for Clemson as Stockman misses. But at the other end, you're right. What an athlete Julius Peppers is at 6'6", 270. Led the nation in sacks this year, and it makes plays on the basketball court that guys really 50 pounds lighter than him have trouble making.
The problem is, he had a guy 50 pounds lighter than him standing in front of him. Couldn't stop him.
Haywood slams it home.
What a nice job by Haywood to be patient. Catches the ball, turns to the basket. Larry Shyatt says he walked, but he waited until McGee's went past him and then dunked it home.
Haywood, a career 64% shooter from the floor, and you can see why. Good pressure by Peppers out on McGee's. The backdoor feeds a little bit beyond Scott as Clemson turns it over for the 5th time.
And the problem for Clemson is Larry Shyatt's got to get Will Solomon a blow every now and again, and Solomon was out of the game. He's coming back in now, but they've really got to find a way to get their offense with Solomon out of the game. They've got 17 points overall. Solomon has 10 of them. He has been the offense for Larry Shyatt.
Boone and Morrison in the backcourt together for Carolina. Owens on the wing, and then the big fellas, Peppers and Haywood inside.
2-3 zone.
Baseline Owens, always sneaking around looking for an opening, but he lost it out of bounds.
Now, I'll tell you what, page 3 of the coach's manual says if you're playing with a small team against a larger team, that the thing you have to do from the first part, earliest in the game, is to holler over the back, over the back. And that's the call you want to try to get.
Solomon with a little space. It's a 2 for him, and now he's got 12 of their 19.
Solomon only needs a little space.
Yeah, and if he doesn't have it, he'll find it.
He'll create it.
Working hard on defense as well on Boone.
Nice job to put pressure on the ball.
Owens. Not his night so
far. There's Peppers again, keeping that ball alive. He just knocked it away from Allen's back. Boy, you got to grab onto that thing when Peppers is around.
He has become a cult hero here in Chapel Hill. And he gave this program, both programs, some good news when he decided to come back for his junior season instead of opting for the NFL draft.
That's a tough shot. Very difficult shot by Allen.
Carolina by 9. Inside, Haywood again and a foul. Nice feed for Morrison.
You talk about a guy who's really able to use his strength. Peppers setting the screen. Now going to the basket. Now watch, he just takes the ball right out of the hands of Allensbach. Allensbach has two hands on the ball. Peppers tips it away and then waits for the ball to come back to him. That's quite a strong young man.
And here's another strong young man at the line into Brendan Haywood. Extending Carolina's lead to 10. We're here in Chapel Hill with the number 6 Tar Heels are hosting the Clemson Tigers. Carolina 13-2 on the season and winners of 10 in a row. Clemson comes in at 10-6, 1-2 in the conference after a very big win over North Carolina State on the weekend.
Clemson's problems have been on the offensive end, with the exception of Solomon. They can't get anything generated. They're not going to beat North Carolina in the Dean Dome unless you put some points on it.
Solomon, right now, he's the only guy putting points on the board for Clemson. He's got 15.
He's option 1, 2, and 3 right at the moment.
That right. 7-point lead, Tar Heels.
Clemson with a small lineup in the game, basically 3 guards set.
Morrison knocks down a 3.
You know, you play that zone, you try to slough back on the inside, and North Carolina doing a great job from out beyond the 3-point arc.
Scott with a step, but Boone recovers. The North Carolina guards have wanted to see Scott get called for carrying the ball a couple of times already tonight. Solomon again, and he finally misses one.
Oh, and Owens has it bounce off and go out of bounds.
So we've got a timeout on the floor. Solomon or nothing for Clemson early. They're down by 10.
This looks important.
No, it's just a differentialator. Totally unnecessary.
Get expert advice at Pep Boys and up to $40 back on premium Revestis brake service. One more reason. Cars like us, people love us.
Call Roto-Rooter, that's the name, and away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
.com lets you get up, work where you want, and stay connected to the network. 3Com. Simple sets you free.
Could we cure diseases faster? Would we have even more beautiful art to look at? More inventions to make life easier? How many more great minds, great talents, and great achievements would there be if every person in this world were properly fed? At Cargill, we believe human progress isn't just made, it is nourished.
Dan Schulman, Dan Bonner back in Chapel Hill. 10-point lead for the Tar Heels over Clemson. A couple of teams with some bad memories recently of North Carolina. We'll get it going up in College Park later on tonight. Darius Sangaila, number 8 of Wake Forest, taking on number 14 Maryland at 9 Eastern time tonight here on ESPN. For more on college hoop, log on to ESPN.com. Matt Doherty, first-year head coach here at Notre Dame, and what a different presence he is on the sideline than his predecessors. He brings a lot of fire and energy to him, and from talking to people around here, they say there's a different feeling in this building this year, partially perhaps because of that.
Wow, I think it has a great deal to do with that, plus the fact that North Carolina's had some great success after those back-to-back losses to Michigan State and Kentucky. They've won 10 in a row.
Doherty right now all over the officials calling for a walk, and we've got a foul. Is it against Hobbs? That's number 3 on him, and what a shame for the local product, the freshman who's coming back home to play in front of so many family and friends. He just can't stay on the floor tonight.
Now, North Carolina, think about this. They're ahead in this game by 10. They have 32 points. 8 different Tar Heels have scored from Matt Doherty's squad. On the other hand, Will Solomon has 15 of Clemson's 22 points. Plus, the Tar Heels have really frustrated the Clemson strategy. They have hit 6 3-point baskets already in the first half.
Tough look for Lang. Hobbs out, by the way, and McGee's back in.
And one of the things that North Carolina has not done very often, they did it there, but they haven't done it very often, is try to force anything. There's only 3 turnovers on the target.
Here comes Solomon. Forte on him.
Boy, Forte's got to breathe a sigh of relief every time Solomon passes the ball to somebody else.
Splits the double team. Finds the open man in Scott. Nicely done by Solomon and Scott.
And Scott does a nice job getting himself in shooting position and being ready to shoot as soon as he catches the ball.
Credit to Solomon that he's not forcing too many things. There's the beautiful jump hook from Lang.
If Lang is going to be able to catch the ball on the block or in the lane, as he did that time, he is almost impossible to stop.
Asha Baines misses a three. Guy who scored a lot early in the season for Clemson. Hasn't played that much recently. Nice feed. Solomon into Henderson, but he misses the layup.
Boy, you just have to have those if you're the Clemson Tigers.
Murray around Solomon, and it's Clemson ball.
McGee's really taking a hard one right there. Curry puts his head down and penetrates into the lane. Ball bounces up. Now that's not a carry because you're allowed to have a high dribble, but McGee does a nice job moving his feet and getting in position.
Here comes Baines, good three-point shooter and Capel aware of it. Way out on him. Look at this tenacious D from the Tar Heels.
That is a great job by Capel getting Baines back on his heels. 45. Oh.
Now Peppers charged with a hold.
One of the things that Larry Shyatt has to have his guys do is when they catch the ball, they have to turn to the basket, and they've got to do it with some authority to drive that defense back. You can't play back on your heels, and Jason Capel was all over Pasha Baines.
Start out spread.
Allen's back into the game. 7-1 player, averaging better than 10 points and 7 rebounds per game, and especially with Hobbs in foul trouble, they need his presence.
Forte really working hard to try to deny Solomon the ball.
Jump stop, and the shot is blocked as Jamar McKnight comes into the game for the first time. A junior, and an unpopular foul is called here by Ted Valentine.
I don't know that there's ever been a popular foul called on a Tar Heel at any of the venues where the Tar Heels have played. McKnight is a guy who does a nice job, who can do a nice job slashing to the basket. That's an outstanding jump stop and draws the foul. Now, to get to the free throw line in a game like this, if you're Clemson, you've got to take advantage of opportunities.
Owens back in from Capel. Foul his second.
This is only McKnight's 8th game of the season. When he has played, he has been productive for Clemson. He just has not played a lot of minutes this year.
Back within 8. Owens, and finally one will go down for him. Three-pointer for Max Owens.
7th three-pointer of the game for the Tar Heels. Owens was open because McKnight was a little unsure about where he's supposed to be on defense.
And I believe the 9th different Tar Heel to score.
Absolutely, and there's a turnover as North Carolina's defensive pressure really has Clemson sort of confused right at the moment. Confused isn't a good word. They're just a little discombobulated. They're not being very aggressive on the offense. They're backing up instead of attacking the basket.
This streak that Clemson is on, they really haven't even been very close to winning a game here in the last 20 years or so. The margin's been about 20 points per game.
Well, the closest they were was back in 1982 when they were ahead by 9 in the second half, but North Carolina won by 5 thanks to 21 points from a fella named Matt Doherty.
Isn't that funny? And Matt Doherty's career high was a 28-point game in the ACC tournament against Clemson. Here's the streak of futility, the second longest streak in the NCAA. The best chance they had to win was back in 1975. Latest lead, 18 seconds. They were up 1. Walter Davis hit a jumper. Carolina escaped with the win, but it really is phenomenal that never, ever they caught him sleeping or injured or in foul trouble or shorthanded. They just haven't been able to squeak out a win.
But as Larry Shyatt said, it has a great deal more to do with the guys wearing the white uniforms than the building.
Yes.
Larry Shyatt said he really felt like if the home court was in Istanbul, would have won all those games.
Owens will draw the foul underneath and head to the line.
And that's a situation right there. Clemson standing watching Will Solomon on that particular possession. So when he misses the ball, they're knocked back quickly on defense. And North Carolina looking for that opportunity break. Owens getting out real quickly.
He gives him a real spark off the bench. You don't have to wait long to find out that he's checked into the game. His scoring has gone up dramatically in the last 6 games. You're right about the depth that Matt Doherty has. You think back about 2-3 years ago, and Bill Guthridge really only had 6 players, and they would alternate which one sat out as a starter every game. Matt Doherty can comfortably go 9 or 10 deep.
And the thing that Matt Doherty can do is he can change the tempo of the game, the character of his team with his substitutions. Now, of course, he doesn't like to see a guy miss a couple of free throws.
Doherty's got Lang and Peppers in there now as the big guys. Morrison, Curry, the guards, and on the wing it's Owens. There's Stockman, and he's stripped by Owens. Laying it in.
Now that doesn't redeem you for missing a couple of free throws. Stockman just took his eyes off Owens. Owens taking advantage of the freshman.
Largest lead of the game for Carolina. The student section behind the basket loving every minute of it. They've changed things in this building this year, getting the students more involved. You can see them off on the left, and about 400 of them down there making a lot of noise.
Dustin Braddock. An illegal screen, and things just falling apart right at the moment for Clemson. You know, Brian Morrison, the freshman for North Carolina, matching up right at the moment against Will Solomon, and that might not be a bad matchup. Morrison, very quick, very athletic, and he probably, as a freshman, he doesn't realize how good Will Solomon is, so he probably figures he can guard him.
Well, Solomon's got 15, but he hasn't scored in about 4 minutes, and tonight that's a drought for him.
And it's an unfortunate drought for the Tigers because he has been the offense. You can see there, only 26 points. He played 16 minutes.
Won't go down for Curry.
And Peppers with a push on the inside. And Henderson is going to shoot.
When you're that strong and you push somebody, it's hard to conceal that because the other guy's going to go flying more often than not.
Well, that ball hung there on the lip of the rim, and so usually you just jump up and get it as it was coming off. But when it hung there, everybody's battling for position. And you're right under the nose of the referee is not a good place to do your pushing.
Although this guy's no pipsqueak at 6'8", 250, he can handle himself.
Yeah, but he doesn't have any quarterback sacks. At least not this year.
Doesn't have the same kind of pursuit that Julius Peppers had. 15 sacks. Led the nation. 1 of 2 for Henderson. Rebound Curry. Curry and Peppers injecting depth and toughness and attitude. A lot of things that Carolina's really benefited from. And they've got a pretty comfortable 13-point lead on the Tigers right now, under 4 to play in the first half.
It's here, waiting for you. Inside is unlimited strength and power. It builds confidence and reshapes your body. It can change everything. This is Bowflex, an entire gym in one easy-to-use machine. So powerful, it delivers over 60 health club quality exercises with up to 410 pounds of resistance, all in the convenience of your own home. Strength training with Bowflex is so effective that we guarantee you'll get the results you want in 6 weeks or less. And you can own one with no money down and payments as low as $33 per month. Bowflex is real. The results are real. The question is, are you ready for Bowflex? For a free video and brochure, call or go online at bowflexdirect.com. Do the research, listen to real customers, then place your order online and get started. Bowflex. Who said change isn't easy?
As a real estate agent, my appearance is crucial. I just didn't like the idea of putting on a suit and seeing more and more hair loss each day. So I made one of the most important calls of my career to 1-800-HAIR-CLUB. I got their free brochure, and I picked the hair loss option that was best for me. Now I feel younger, I think I look better, and my wife fell in love with me all over again.
His hair looks so great, people just can't tell. Our friends, our neighbors, even my mom didn't know he did anything. He looks better than the day we got married.
Call 1-800-HAIR-CLUB today.
Carolina leading by 13 here, 3:55 to go in the first half. Carolina fans who want to rush out and pick up the latest issue of ESPN of the magazine and checking out Dan Patrick's outtakes, because the subject this week, Tar Heel coach Matt Doherty. Among other things, Matt says if Jordan had just given him the ball in the championship game, he was wide open at the free throw line, he'd have hit the shot, he'd have become the best player who ever lived, and everybody'd be wearing Air Doherty's right now. What do you think?
Well, I think that that's a very nice fantasy to have. And we all have to have those, particularly as we get older.
The older you get, the better you work.
Clemson in a man-to-man.
Haywood finds the open man, and I mean open. Nobody near Ronald Curry.
Now that's Ronald Curry's second three of the night, his 11th on the season. He's going to change the strategy of a lot of teams. They're not going to decide they can leave him open. He sure doesn't shoot it like a football player.
That'll make life a lot easier for Forte, too, if teams can't double him. Stockman lays it in off the glass.
And that is a place that Clemson's got to get some offense. Stockman is a guy who's capable of putting up big numbers on the board, and he has got to produce some points. Will Solomon can't score them all.
The Mr. Basketball last year in the state of Ohio, Stockman averaging 12.5 per game. Second to Solomon on the Tigers. Peppers open for a moment. Now Curry in a 3-second call against the Tar Heels.
And Brendan Haywood and Peppers exchanging a look, and Matt Doherty. Well, that's not an encouraging sign when a coach puts his head in his hands. But Haywood thought Peppers was going to shoot the ball.
Morrison remains on Solomon to get some help here from Peppers. Solomon doesn't care. Traveling call
for travel. Boy, it has been tough. Nice job by the Tar Heels. They went and they double-teamed Solomon, and then once he split the double team, the help came very aggressively, so he couldn't find anybody open. Haywood doing a great job backing down inside against Henry. And he got called for 3 seconds again. He really is camped out in the lane. He's got to be careful. You want to get yourself in the lane so that as the pass comes to you, you can move toward the pass and catch it right on the block. But when you set up in the lane like that, you've got to be aware of the 3 seconds and get yourself in and out.
Turnovers a bigger problem for Clemson than for Carolina right now. 14-point lead Tar Heels. Juwan Clifton back into the game for the Tigers, handling number 35. Very small lineup on the floor for Clemson. Only one player bigger than 6'5", and that's Henderson. He runs it down. Shot clock at 8. Scott. A little bit short. Peppers the rebound.
Well, nice job by North Carolina. They're running at Will Solomon now, making him dribble the ball, not take the open jump shot, and then collapsing on him, making him pass it to somebody else.
Owens finds Haywood. Haywood finds Peppers. Morrison in the corner. That shot. Here comes Solomon, a rare chance to run. Taken away by Peppers. Curry. And the rebound, Henderson. Nice thought. What great hands. He's having fun, too, with a smile on the face of Peppers. Clifton.
And that's going to be a foul against Morrison.
Coming up in a minute 14, it's the Courtyard by Marriott halftime report. Sports Center in-game with Dave Revson. And the Buckeyes have found their man, and well, the predictable suspension for Marcus Camby in the NBA. Dave will have details on that and more coming up on the Courtyard by Marriott halftime report. That was a wild scene, wasn't
well,
it?
That was really, really ugly. It is a good thing for everybody involved that Camby didn't hit Danny Ferry. That haymaker that he was swinging, if he'd have hit him, he could have really, really hurt him.
Jeff Van Gundy's just got to stay out of the middle of these things. he's always going to get the worst of it.
He's paying the price for it, but I think he saved Marcus Camby from a much more serious problem.
Clifton hits a couple. Clemson
crawling back in it. Crawling back in it. They're still within striking distance, even though they had an offensive drought there for a while in the first half. If they can get back to within under the 10-point figure, they might feel very good about that first half.
Morrison wants Haywood inside, and a foul. They want to go against the Tigers.
We talked about the quickness of Morrison, and that's really what created that foul. Clifton trying to pressure the ball, so he didn't have a lot of time to look inside to Haywood, and Morrison recognized that, put the ball down, drove hard to the basket.
Number 2 on Clifton sends Morrison to the line. It was the big question for Carolina coming into this season. Who would be the point guard? Morrison, Boone, would Curry play? Boone was the starter early. Would Forte maybe even get some of the minutes there, and it looks like Curry is the guy who was really solidifying the position, but Matt Doherty does have backups if he needs them.
He's got some options.
Yeah. Morrison gets it back on the tip. And they'll reset.
Boy, that's good patience. And that's simply a size thing right there. Brendan Haywood just reached that long arm out and tipped the ball.
Triple team on Haywood. He'll spin to the baseline.
And travel. And that's where you want, if you're Clemson, that's where you want Brendan Haywood catching the ball. If you're Matt Doherty, you want him catching it down on the block, so when he turns and steps toward the basket, he maintains that pivot foot until he shoots the layup or dunks it. If you're Larry Shive, you want him 5 or 6 feet from the basket.
Clemson will look for the last shot of the half, and given Hobbs' foul problems and the recent drought, Solomon being defended better in the last few minutes, a basket here, and they probably won't feel too badly.
Well, you've got to watch the 5-second violation right here. And I think at the end of the half, we'd like to have the ball in the hands of Solomon.
Morrison defending him, so it's Scott all the way to the basket. Won't stay down.
Wow.
It would have counted had it gone. As we come to the end of the first half, 15 for Will Solomon, with most of them early. Carolina leading the Tigers by 13 at the break, thanks to Forte and friends. Let's go back to the studio and join Dave Rebson for the halftime reports.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dan. Welcome to Sports Center In Game, the Courtyard by Marriott halftime report. Coming up, Ohio State finally has a new football coach. We will tell you who it is. And a little controversy on Monday. Today, Marcus Camby getting his punishment. We will fill you in on the Courtyard by Marriott halftime report.
Bonjour, je suis en raisin.
Anyone can join French Club. You don't have to eat snails or be rude. No. The Petersons are planning their first trip to Paris. They're using United.com to explore options for hotels, rental cars, en français seulement, and of course, to get a good deal on flights.
Holy cow!
Étranger.
Ce qui fait gut le bureau.
Some people you could always count on to be there for you. We were there when you fixed up your first car. And when you fixed up your first apartment. We were even there when you finally got fixed up yourself. So now that you're fixing more bottles than old cars, there's no one better to talk to about your changing life insurance needs than the State Farm agent you've always trusted to care for your car, your home, and you. State Farm is there for you because State Farm is there for life.
Now, buy a large pepperoni pizza for $9.99 and get Domino's new Cinnasticks free. Right, Andy? Freshly baked with cinnamon and sugar topped with vanilla icing. Call now. Domino's always delivers.
Boy, I miss planes.
Don't worry, man. He can still win it all. Just collect these game cards from specially marked packages of Frito-Lay snacks. Match the play in the card to a play in the Super Bowl, and you could win millions of prizes.
Yeah, I just won 2 Super Bowl tickets for life.
Play Frito-Lays. Find the winning plays game.
Go, 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 go.
Can't get enough football? Grab a Miller Lite, and anytime is Miller time.
Go, 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 go.
The Super Bowl's coming. Make room for Miller Lite inflatable chairs. Enter to win them wherever you buy Miller Lite or at superbowl.com.
Guys, there's a couch just like mine downstairs.
We've had this new set for a little while, and it's got a lot of new bells and whistles, and it's certainly generated a lot of feedback, most of it positive. But there are some people who say they're too intimidated by the space-agey feel of the new set. And I'm like, come on, we're still the same people doing the same show. New set's not going to change anything, at least not with me.
Great, thanks.
Anytime. Oh, yeah, computer.
Yes, Mr. Eisen?
Can you get me the statistics to tonight's Rangers game right away?
Coming right up, Mr. Eisen.
Top teams battle it out in the Big 12 ACC Challenge. First and 1, Angie Well looks to continue her double-double run when the Cyclones face NC State's Wolfpack. Then at 3, ACC leading scorer LaQuanda Barksdale powers the Tar Heels against Oklahoma's Sooners. The Big 12 ACC Challenge. Iowa State, NC State at 1. Oklahoma, North Carolina at 3. Sunday on ESPN2, home of the NCAA Championship.
Welcome to Sports Center In Game. Time for the Courtyard by Marriott halftime report.
Welcome back. Youngstown State football coach Jim Tressel is no longer Youngstown State football coach Jim Tressel. He's now Ohio State football coach Jim Tressel. Tressel has been hired to replace the fired John Cooper. Official announcement will be made tomorrow. Tressel won 4 1AA national championships with the Penguins. The Knicks' Marcus Camby suspended 5 games for taking a swing at Danny Ferry of the Spurs on Monday. An angry Jeff Van Gundy saying he got 5 games for not hitting a guy. Of course, he did hit a guy. He just hit the wrong guy. You've probably seen it by now. Here's what set it off. Ferry getting Camby in the eye. He was suspended for just 1 game. Tonight's game against the Raptors. Van Gundy angry with how brief Ferry's suspension is, saying the crimes and punishments don't meet up. Van Gundy bemoaned his own fate, too, saying, I got 15 stitches and I got my player out. Camby apologized for his actions yesterday, although he did not apologize to Ferry, said he put his team in a bad spot. And a look at the Knicks' schedule confirms that. Of the 5 games coming up that Camby will be suspended for, 3 are against teams that are above 500. Could have been worse, though. The first game back is against Philly. News and notes for you. The Suns' Penny Hardaway, who's played in just 4 games this season, likely out for the year. The Casey Martin case argued in front of the Supreme Court today. Decision on whether Martin has a right to use a cart in PGA Tour events, not expected until July. And football coach Phil Fulmer gets a new 7-year deal at Tennessee. The Sharks will be without center Vincent Damphousse for the next 3 to 4 months. Damphousse, who leads first place San Jose in points, assists, and plus-minus rating, dislocated his shoulder in Monday's loss to the Wings. He is not expected back until the playoffs, which would preclude him from playing in the All-Star game. Had been named as a reserve for the North American team Tuesday. Here you see the world reserves named today. First chance to see reserves Alexander McGillney and Sergei Fedorov, along with starter Pavel Bure, on the same team since they were line mates on the gold medal-winning Soviet team in the '89 World Juniors. A more thorough look at all those stories on SportsCenter, 11 p.m. Eastern. Rich Eisen and Stuart Scott. They will profile the Ravens' D. Is it the best of the best? More on the Camby punishment. And could Stanford possibly lose at home to unranked Cal? They are never saying never. That is after Wake Forest and Maryland. Coming up, we have highlights for you. D.A. Lane through the lane, trying to get Georgia a win in Gainesville.
SportsCenter in game. This halftime report is presented by Courtyard by Marriott, the hotel designed by business travelers.
And then she took it, and she was like, no, boil it. Boil it first. Never in a million years have I ever done that.
You already know 7-Up is a great soft drink, but did you also know it's a fine musical instrument? It's not exactly hip-hop, but I'm working on it.
And in business news, we are drawing closer to Ted's decision day. Sources close to Ted say that he is looking forward.
Man, this Ted must be something.
Get me this Ted.
Get me this Ted.
Get me this Ted.
I'm on that.
What do you mean we haven't heard from Ted yet?
Well, I've heard he's had quite a few offers.
Then play hardball, boy. Send him a fruit basket.
Hey, Ted. Any response from Monster yet? Mm-hmm.
Get your name out there. Put your resume on Monster.com.
Tell me something good.
When you come to Jackson Hewitt for your taxes, we'll work hard to get you a super fast refund. And our average refund's been over $200 more than H&R Blocks. Call Jackson Hewitt now, 1-800-234-1040.
Boy, are they gonna be surprised. I hope they like it. Breakfast! Breakfast!
Oh, wow. Oh, goodness.
Are these,
Pancakes.
wow. This looks great.
We don't have the stuff to make pancakes.
From heartburn to diarrhea, Pepto-Bismol, because you never know.
We made the syrup, too. People are always asking me, Kathy, what do you do? And I'm like, I do really good things. Like, take the arts and crafts stand at the state fair. They're trying to shut it down. But I'm putting a petition together to keep it alive. I mean, what has ESPN.com done for the world? Stupid sports. But Kathy Cam makes a difference.
Welcome back to Sports Center in Game, the Courtyard by Marriott halftime report.
Clemson has never won in Chapel Hill. They're trailing by 13 at the half, thanks to 8 for Joseph Forte. Welcome back. Florida, of course, a national finalist last year, ranked 7th this year, but all is not well right now with the Florida Gators playing without injured starters Brent Wright and Teddy Dupay. Just 8 scholarship players to face Georgia. And early on, the Dogs taking advantage. D.A. Lane gets fouled and gets it, makes the free throw, ties it at 14. Georgia up by 5 now. Lane working the baseline and working it well. The pull-up, oh, yeah. Bulldogs up by 7. Still first half. Florida coming back, though, behind Justin Hamilton off the feed from Udonis Haslem. He drills the 3 ball. That ties it at 22. Dogs, though, back up by 5. Sean Coleman working down low, and he gets it to go. Bulldogs go up by 7 in this one. And as we check out the score right now, we see they are up by 1 at the break. 13 straight home wins for Florida, but that streak is on the line. Let's check out some Big Ten action. Penn State and Indiana, and this one all Hoosiers early on, up 15. Jared Jeffries, the outstanding freshman. He drains the 3. Hoosiers by 18. Jeffries 15 and 13 in the first half. Hoosiers were up by 18. That's Kirk Haston with the jam. Indiana up 12. Still up a dozen. Jeffries. No, but Haston is there to follow. Hoosiers up by 14. Penn State 0-8 all-time at the Assembly Hall, and they're about to go to 0-9. It's 74-64. Hoosiers on top by 10 in the final minute. Couple scores from the Big East for you. Virginia Tech and Villanova. This one is tied about midway through the first half, and West Virginia at the half is leading Rutgers 40-37. Mountaineers looking to improve to 7-2 at home on the season. Second half of our ACC doubleheader comes your way at 9 Eastern. Maryland and Wake Forest, couple ranked teams going at it. Terps, though, looking for their first win of the season over a ranked opponent. Memphis fans wiping the drool off their chins after seeing what Tiger commit DeJuan Wagner did last night. Son of the former Louisville star Milt Wagner put up 100 points for Camden High in New Jersey. 13th high school player ever to do that. Said Wagner in the understatement of the year, quote, "I felt it today." I should say so. College Hoops tonight comes your way at midnight Eastern time on ESPN. Jay Billis and Carl Ravitch will be your hosts. They will look at the top 10 mid-majors, kind of looking ahead to some teams that might make some noise in March. Won't believe what kind of money they're speculating Rick Pitino may get in Vegas. Latest on the Pitino watch and the difficulty of playing on the road, something Clemson knows about all too well. Second half coming up on the Courtyard by Marriott halftime report.
If you love the sight of a big white-tailed buck moving through the brush, the excitement of ducks coming in over your decoys, the thrill of seeing a largemouth bass crashing your lure, you love Field & Stream, America's premier outdoor magazine. Call now and get a full year of Field & Stream plus 2 bonus issues for 86 cents an issue. That's 79% off the newsstand price. You'll also get this handy Mossy gear bag free with your paid subscription. It carries and protects your stuff exactly what you want in a gear bag. Just like Field & Stream is exactly what you want in a sportsman's magazine. It's bagging that trophy buck, catching the biggest trout, casting like a pro, using the right lures, improving your shotgunning skills, getting the greatest gear, plus timely coverage on the hottest places to hunt and fish in your area. It's all in Field & Stream, the great magazine of the great outdoors. Call now to save 79% and get this Mossy gear bag free.
Call 1-800-554-9000 to get Field & Stream for just $12 plus the handy Mossy gear bag free. Call now 1-800-554-9000.
Good morning, everybody. This is your captain speaking. We'll soon be cruising at 3,000 feet, nonstop to Tampa. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. It's not 3,000 feet we'll be cruising at, but 30,000. Sorry for the mix-up. Captain again. Did I mention that we're not going to Chicago? Well, we are going to Chicago. Captain again.
The family has always put in the forefront to protect the quality and the standards set by Adolphus Bush.
The deep sense of pride that my grandfather taught me, that my father continues to teach me.
I think he would be very happy if the generations of his family have practiced what he taught us.
fantasize, but never leave the stream.
In today's net economy, companies are struggling to change, struggling with the complexities of e-business, with making intranets, extranets, and the internet work together across any platform around the world. Well, now it can all work together as one net. With Net Services software from Novell, the power to change.
And welcome back to Chapel Hill. Just getting set for the beginning of the second half. Dan Schulman and Dan Bonner with you here at the Smith Center, and a 13-point lead for the Tar Heels at the break. In the beginning, Will Solomon was single-handedly keeping Clemson in the game, but finally they managed to shut him down a little bit. Carolina's depth really wore him down a little.
And that has been the key. The other key has been North Carolina's ability to shoot the basketball, particularly from three-point range. Carolina averages about 6 threes a game. They already have 8. You can notice Carolina moving the ball very effectively, those 12 assists, and North Carolina getting outstanding play from the bench. You're talking about Will Solomon. In the first 15 minutes of this game, he had 15 points. His first 12 minutes, he had 15 points. The last 8, he doesn't have any. You can see the kind of defensive pressure he's getting. Everybody coming to help out, forcing him to give up the ball. Brian Morrison there guarding him. Morrison guarded him for the last 8 minutes of the first half, and those were 8 minutes during which Will Solomon didn't score. So, and I'm not saying that Morrison handled him by himself. The key for Solomon, he had 9 shots in the first 12 minutes. He only took 2 shots in the last 8 minutes. North Carolina doing a real good job running at Solomon, forcing him to pass the ball.
Joseph Forte was the Tar Heel who was on Solomon for most of the first 12 minutes, and we'll see if he gets that responsibility again here to begin the second half. There's the story on Solomon, who's the ACC's leading scorer at almost 22 points per game. He had a 15 in the first half. Forte led a very balanced bunch of Tar Heels. 9 of them had at least a field goal. Forte with 8 in the first half to lead his team.
And I think these first couple of minutes of the half are extremely critical for the Clemson Tigers. They really need to get a little run going, bring this game back closer. They cannot afford to let North Carolina go on a run and then get down 18 or 19 and then have to spend the rest of the game climbing back into it.
It is Forte on Solomon to begin the second half. And Nagis gets a start in the second half.
Hobbs has those 3 fouls.
Hobbs played only 5 minutes in the first half. Scott, air ball. Nagis, 3 on the shot clock. Doesn't know it. Scott gets it up in time.
That's a violation.
Boy, his teammates were hollering too, but Nagis just didn't get the message.
And you got to wonder why Nagis wouldn't shoot the ball anyway. He's in the corner. He's about 15 feet away. He's wide open. And that's part of the problem. In the first half, Clemson had 27 shots, and Solomon had 11 of them. Scott had 7 of them. Nobody else shooting the ball.
Now inside. Larry Shai knows that his team depends on Solomon extensively at the best of times, and tonight not the best of times right now, depending on him more than they would like.
The only guys who are really looking for the shots are Scott and Solomon.
Forte will draw the foul on the baseline.
And Forte does a nice job getting the ball to the basket. If Joseph Forte has a weakness in his game, it's every once in a while he gets enamored with standing outside and shooting the 3-point shot. He's got such an effective game moving to the basket, drawing fouls, and he's become a very, very fine free throw shooter.
82% on the season. He's averaging about 20 points per game. He dropped into 3rd in the conference after Jason Williams' incredible performance for Duke last night. The top 4 scorers in this conference are all guards. You've got Solomon, Williams, Forte, and then Juan Dixon of Maryland are the top 4 scorers in the ACC.
And then Forte showing you why he's one of the top 4 scorers, penetrating into the lane. Now, he creates all of this by stepping across and getting his hands on the ball. Clifton does not do a good job blocking him out, and Forte just turns and wheels to the basket. That is a very, very strong move by Joseph Forte. And again, I really think that's where his game is the best, taking the ball to the basket.
Look at the leading scorers in the ACC. Have you seen a performance as dominant as Jason Williams' performance?
No, certainly not this year. That was a totally dominant performance. And the most impressive thing is you have a guard that scores those 34 points, but still has 9 assists in the game. So not only is he scoring effectively, but he's making sure everybody else gets involved in the offense.
We'll see Juan Dixon from Maryland after this game as the Terps host Wake Forest. It's the second game of the doubleheader here tonight on ESPN.
I'll tell you what, another guy I think has done a real nice job for North Carolina tonight is Ronald Curry. He has put a lot of pressure on the basketball. He's knocked down a couple of three-point shots. And Will Solomon still having a tough time handling the basketball. And there's Curry with that ball pressure. When you put pressure on the ball, it's hard to find an open guy.
Now Solomon with the shot clock down to 10 on the baseline, finds Clifton, and a beautiful bank off the glass as he had to adjust that shot in midair.
And I think that was a fortunate play because he was surprised to get that ball. When Solomon is being harassed like that, you've got to be prepared to catch and shoot.
Forte, the catch and shoots. 14 for Joseph Forte.
I'll tell you what, you come in here and with the size North Carolina possesses, when they start raining the threes on you, you may as well just forget it.
6 different Tar Heels have a three-point field goal tonight. Solomon on the bounce draws the foul before the shot.
And here's the problem that we talked about for Clemson. They come out, we haven't played quite 2 minutes in the second half. They're down 17. Now, the Tigers have made a habit of that this year, getting way down and coming back in games. And they came back pretty close to Washington but lost. They were way down against Cincinnati and made a game of it. But those moral victories don't help you much in conference play.
They're an improved team from a year ago. Already 10 wins this year, had 10 all of last season. They've got a conference win over NC State. But they're in tough here tonight.
That's the first time since the 1998-99 season that Clemson has not been in the basement of the ACC.
After this one, Clemson's got to go to Wake. They started off their conference schedule as tough as you can start it. Already having played at Duke, where they were beaten by about 40 points. They've played Maryland already. They were shy. Didn't get any favors from the schedule maker here this year.
You've got, there's the shot clock at 7 seconds. You've got 5 teams in the ACC in the top 14. There aren't any easy.
Another block for Haywood, and then Henderson commits the silly foul.
Brendan Haywood closing in on the record at North Carolina all-time for blocked shots. Need to give that guy a pump fake down inside. See the career blocks. Henderson trails only, or Haywood trails only Sam Perkins, and he has 3 tonight.
Long 3 from Forte, and then Haywood over the back returns the favor as he commits a foul. A guy who's probably going to be the all-time block shot leader and will definitely be the school's all-time field goal percentage leader. He's taken a lot of heat in the last 4 years because of how big and talented he is, that still in the minds of some he hasn't achieved as much as he should have achieved.
Lots of times you get a guy that size and that's the criticism. It's like Will Chamberlain once said, nobody loves Goliath.
A miss by Solomon. Hobbs back into the game with the 3 fouls. No look pass to Allen's back. Double pump fake, and Haywood still got it.
And Haywood did a great job running back into that play.
Now Lang from Capel, and it's all Carolina here in the second half.
Haywood had started down the court, sprinted back to his defensive position, and once he blocks the shot, North Carolina just gets out and goes.
30-second timeout, Clemson.
The key to this whole thing is Brendan Haywood hustling back. Watch Haywood, he's running back. He started down the court, he runs back, gets down on the ground, jumps up again and gets the block shot, and Capel just gets it out and goes. And there's Chris Lang, the big guy running the court. That's just an outstanding play all the way around by the big guys. Haywood with the block, and Chris Lang really gets down the court. And those big guys from North Carolina, they take in the fast break and they go right to the block.
You know, the way Carolina's playing right now, the way Duke is playing right now, it's hard not to look ahead and think about the 2 matchups that those 2 schools are going to have. One of them will be on ESPN2, the other on ABC. They might be the only teams in each other's way right now, as well as each is playing.
For as much as everybody's talked about the new top-to-bottom balance in the ACC, and Wake Forest has certainly had a good start to the season, as had Virginia, you look at the top of those ACC standings, and what are the 2 names that you see? Duke, North Carolina.
I think the 2 schools everybody would concede as the next best 2, Wake and Maryland. They'll play next here tonight on ESPN. It'll be an entertaining game. Might tell us a thing or 2. Scott gets a screen, can't get by Forte. Jamar McKnight back into the game now for Clemson. Elevates and bricks the shot off the glass. Rebound Lang. Curry finds an open Capel. Inside Haywood.
Another example, the big guy just getting down the court, getting himself set up on the block.
Scott all the way. Another block for Haywood. A little stare down on Scott behind the play. And you got a technical
foul on Larry Scheid.
Boy, he can't push Ted Valentine too far. If Larry wants to stay, he's got to get back to the bench.
And Ted Valentine showing some real restraint there, not nailing him again. And I don't know whether that he called that technical on Larry Scheid or whether it was called on someone on the bench. It's hard to tell.
I'm not sure, but it might have started with a little stare down from Haywood after the block on Scott.
Well, Haywood certainly. He runs down the court on the fast break and gets a dunk at one end and then sprints down and gets the block shot on the other end. He has certainly gotten his money's worth here early in the second half.
Well, he's got 5 blocks in the game. 4 of them have come in the first 4 minutes of the second half.
And with Will Solomon not being able to put any offense up on the board, the Clemson offense has really run aground here.
He has now gone better than 12 minutes without scoring. Solomon has, after having 15 points in the first 12 minutes of the game. Capel the lob to Haywood. Capel's had a nice start to the second half too. He's been in on every play, making the key pass, grabbing the rebound.
Yeah, that's good strength by Curry to control that ball. Solomon had that. How did he recover?
Curry drives, lays it in.
And there's Capel with the steal.
He's making all the little plays right now. Forte spins on Scott. Finally, Clemson gets a possession. They haven't had the ball very much this half.
Good forechecking by North Carolina.
Solomon the miss, and McKnight knocks it out of bounds. Back to the Tar Heels. Things just keep getting better and better for Carolina. The lead is up to 24.
ESPN's 2-minute drill CD-ROM. Available wherever software is sold.
The Toyota Celica. Performance you can use. The Toyota Celica. Performance you can use.
At Enterprise Rent-A-Car, when you call us, we don't just pick up the phone. We pick you up.
This is great.
Thank you.
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Remember Jared from Subway? He's inspired a lot of people.
He's still looking good. He leads the rest to 7 sandwiches with 6 grams of fat or less.
Subway. Eat fresh.
It's your shopping cart, a breakfast table, your corner office. It's your car. Take it to Midas for our new VSD brakes. As America's leader in brakes, only Midas has VSD brakes for enhanced performance, and they come with our lifetime guarantee nationwide.
That's how your life goes.
See Midas today for our new VSD brakes. Keep a good thing going. Go Midas.
Carolina really stretching it out on Clemson right now, leading by 24 on ABC this weekend. As some of you will see more ACC action. Number 14 of Maryland taking on NC State. Others will see Syracuse against Seton Hall. A couple of ranked teams out of the Big East. That's live at 3:30 Eastern Time, 12:30 Pacific Time. ABC's NCAA basketball presented by Payne Weber.
Now Larry Scheid's troops 0 for forever here in Chapel Hill, and another thing that they're facing, they're down 24 right now, and since 1978, 20 points is the largest lead that Clemson has overcome to win a game. So all the numbers are against the Tigers at this point.
And the lead gets larger and larger. Capel with a 3. He's got 9.
And that's 10 three-pointers on the game for North Carolina.
Carolina's on a 16-2 run to start the second half. McGee's backdoor feed to McKnight, and the shovel pass taken away.
just not ready to catch the ball inside. That was a nice move to the basket.
Scott takes it right back from Forte. Solomon still looking to get it going, and that will snap the drought. His first basket in more than 13 minutes of action, and he's got 17. Carolina started the year 3-0, lost a couple of games to Michigan State and Kentucky. They have won their last 10. Capel again. Rebound Lang. Up and in.
Boy, what a great job on the inside byline to go straight up and get the ball, avoid the over-the-back call.
Solomon getting a pretty good look, missing the three. Hobbs with the rebound. And he's fouled underneath. The Chapel Hill kid barely able to get on track tonight because of foul trouble.
Been talking about Jason Capel and how he's been doing a nice job with the little things in the second half. Here he comes off the double screen. McKnight can't get there. Now Lang does a little extra right at the end of that play, but Capel wide open for the three-pointer. And this is a time where North Carolina is shooting it very well in the second half, where the players after the game, Clemson players, are going to talk about the scouting report, where they were going to slough off and make North Carolina beat from the outside. Well, 10 three-point baskets generally beat you from the outside.
Scott loses it out of bounds. Solomon getting what's sure to be a brief rest. It's the 15th turnover committed by the Tigers.
And North Carolina has certainly done a nice job after the first 12 minutes of the game, making Solomon give up the basketball. Just nothing open for Will Solomon after he got that real quick start.
Julius Peppers back in, muscling Hobbs, and will it be Hobbs from behind or Scott from the front?
Hobbs commits the foul. And what creates that foul, Dan, the fourth foul on Hobbs, is the fact that Peppers tries to turn and face the basket. Peppers, by making the aggressive move to the basket, the aggressive turn to the basket, forces that foul.
Forte into the paint, finds Peppers, and what a block by Hobbs. A little payback there. Tony Stockman from the corner. McKnight just tries to keep it alive, and to the wrong guy. Forte, no look to Lang. Two more for Chris Lang.
Well, and I'll tell you, he shows you that simply by running the court as a big guy, you can score a lot of points.
He's got 10 tonight, and he's averaging 14.
This is a Tar Heel team that is just really running on all cylinders right at the moment. Not only tonight, but you said they've won 10 in a row, and they're just very, very good doing it.
Nice step through by McKnight. 64-37 Carolina all over Clemson.
And for the Tigers, that's really been the story, playing games in Chapel Hill. They have been in very, very few over the years.
Princeton has beaten Brown 50 consecutive times on its home court. That's the longest streak in NCAA history. This one's number 2.
You're right. Brown is 0-50 at Princeton. Clemson is 0-46 here, going on 0-47, and there Lang picks up the foul.
Now, they have beaten them on neutral courts. They have beaten them in the ACC tournament. That streak applies just to games here in Chapel Hill.
And unless you think that Clemson is alone in lack of success in Chapel Hill, keep in mind that Virginia has only won 4 times in Chapel Hill. So it's not like that every team in the conference has a lot of success here. Very few teams have much success in Chapel Hill.
Nobody much likes coming down here. Free throw for Nagis. And lots of changes from both sides now. As Braddock, Solomon come back in for Clemson. Brian Bursticker is going to come into the game for the first time for Carolina. Brian Morrison as well.
Bursticker in the game, and so far everybody who's played for North Carolina has scored. They had 9 different guys play and score in the first half. And get a look at Joseph Forte on the bench. He did a nice job tonight. And this is a North Carolina team that has played such emotional basketball. Tonight they're playing with a great deal of intensity, but there's not a lot of that emotion out there. It's just been a very workmanlike performance, and when you keep knocking down threes, the game gets easier and easier.
Brian Morrison with a 3 to up the lead to 28. Henderson from 16. Kept alive, but again, every loose ball seems to be winding up in Tar Heel hands. Over the head of Bursticker. Now the pass from Morrison. 3-on-1 Clemson. And what hustle by Morrison to get back. That'll win you some fans.
It's called playing all 94 feet right there.
Wide open Owens. He won't pass up that. Second unit getting some heavy minutes here for Carolina with this big lead as Bursticker misses the turnaround. Not a starter on the floor right now for the Tar Heels.
But not a bad team.
No, it's a pretty good team. Boone and Morrison, Peppers, Owens, and Bursticker. Another steal by Brian Morrison. And he's fouled as he makes his way through the double team.
We talked about his quickness and his athletic ability. And he was the guy basically who was guarding Will Solomon for the last 8 minutes of the half. Now, he wasn't doing it by himself. He had plenty of help, but he was the guy who was matched up against Solomon for those last 8 minutes of the first half when Solomon went quiet after scoring 15 in the first 12 minutes.
Good minutes for Morrison tonight as he heads to the line. Good minutes at both ends of the floor.
The Tar Heels have themselves in a position where they could really put themselves in good shape in the ACC race. They're 3-0 right at the moment. Their next game is at Florida State. Hadn't won yet in the ACC, so these Tar Heels looking pretty good right at the moment.
And getting better game by game.
Who's your friend, Mark?
He's a venture capitalist.
Oh, you still trying to trademark the .and .com?
Okay, if I can get just a little investment from you, this is a go. I'll take that as a yes. Mom, I gotta send an email here. I need an upgrade.
You need a data port.
That's, yes.
What's this look like, sweetie? A Holiday Inn?
Data ports, meeting rooms, business services. Holiday Inn gives you more, and more is better.
In 1951, Toyota introduced the Land Cruiser. Today, we have the most extensive lineup of sport utility vehicles in America. For families and individuals. Mountaintops, as well as soccer fields. And, like the original, all of them are designed to get you there and back.
You've awakened to the true power of e-business. Do you have the software to manage it? If not, consider this your wake-up call. Our software manages more e-businesses than anyone else on Earth. Hello, tomorrow. We are Computer Associates, the software that manages e-business.
Back in our Sports Center in-game studios, Georgia hadn't beaten a ranked opponent on the road in nearly 6 years before topping Ole Miss last week. Looking to pull off another one in Gainesville. That's Ezra Williams putting the Dogs up 7, guys.
Dave, thanks very much. They were impressive against Mississippi. Ezra Williams and D.A. Lane in the backcourt. They don't have a lot of bodies, but Jim Herrick's got some players who play hard, and now they are playing a Florida team that's missing a couple of key players, and Brent Wright and Teddy Dupay, but still Georgia's making some good things happen.
Without any question, you've got to take advantage of the opportunities that present themselves, and as we get a look at the top 10 in the coaches poll here, North Carolina certainly taking advantage of this situation tonight.
30-point lead on Clemson. It was 13 at halftime. But as soon as the second half started, the Tar Heels just took the game.
And that's what they've been doing to Will Solomon for most of the game since that 8-minute mark in the first half. He takes the ball, penetrates to the basket, and he's got 4 or 5 white shirts around him. And when you force Solomon to give up the ball, Clemson simply has not had anybody else step up and knock it in the basket.
A big ovation for the second unit as they all leave and all the starters come back now for Carolina with 10.5 to play. And the second unit did nothing but increase the lead here tonight. Haywood the rebound, kicks it back out. Haywood earlier this season had a triple-double. Jason Capel had one as well. Haywood with the turnaround for the baseline. Lang over the back committing the foul. Haywood had a points, rebounds, and blocks triple-double. Capel had a points, rebounds, and assists triple-double.
And that's an extremely rare event coming into the season in the history of the ACC. There had only been 16 triple-doubles. And 5 of those involved in competition between ACC teams, so not a common occurrence.
Stockman with a step on Forte, misses the shot. Now Capel leads him the other way.
When that long rebound, North Carolina gets it, he just goes flying. Great catch inside.
Too big, too strong, and too fast.
And too willing to run the court and get himself in position where he can catch that ball.
Well, you talked about it. Big guys who learn the lessons of what running the court will do will get a lot of easy points at the other end.
And I think he got a hold of that one, did Haywood. Get his fingertips on that one, block the shot.
Now he wanted the lob from Forte, and so did everybody else in the building.
Big guy runs the court like that, you got to give him the ball.
Curry wide open. Haywood had his hands on it. Capel picks it up.
This is just a spanking going on right now. Clemson simply cannot score.
And another timeout used by Larry Shire. It's a 29-8 run in the second half for Carolina.
And there's not really very much you can do. Clemson goes for the steal right there, and if you don't get that ball, there is no way that you're going to stop Brendan Haywood. Clemson only 3 of 14 shooting in the second half. And North Carolina just really blowing their doors off right at the moment.
Running out of timeouts with the Tigers, and they ran out of answers to Carolina a long time ago. More ACC basketball coming your way Saturday here on ESPN. Number 2 Duke, led by Shane Battier and Jason Williams, will travel down to Atlanta to take on Paul Hewitt's Yellow Jackets, who until last night had been doing some very impressive things. And he's got them back on the right track. The Dukies have won 50 of their last 52 regular season ACC games. If you missed it last night, Jason Williams, Shane Battier, 2 of the big reasons that a Duke defeated Boston College. Jason Williams, simply the best player on the floor by a wide margin last night.
As dominating a performance as I think you'll ever see from a guard, offensively, defensively. Troy Bell came in with the reputation as one of the finer guards in the country, and he definitely is. But boy, I tell you what, Jason Williams showed him there's an entirely different level.
Well, after the game, we were talking to Ed Cooley, one of the assistants for Boston College, and he said that's what he told Troy Bell. Welcome to the big leagues, son. That's Jason Williams, and you just played against the best. Tasha Baines misses the long jumper. Rebound inside for Henderson. And he traveled. He just can't find any space around Haywood.
And Brendan Haywood doing a really nice job standing with his feet ready to move. Doesn't get himself straight up in the air. He's got his knees bent a little bit with his hands up. Doesn't go for the fake. So as this offensive player tries to move, he moves his feet as well. Keeps himself in position to block that shot.
He came back from a scoreless game against Georgia Tech to score 24 against Wake in that thrilling one-point win here as Nagis commits the hard foul. And Haywood also had the winning tip-in that game in the final seconds, and he's played well since then, and he looks like he's going to have a tremendous second half to his senior season.
Clemson simply has no answer for him inside today, and he's really showing you the ability to catch the ball in there. But in this second half, he has been a dominant presence.
Whoa, got him.
That's his 9th point. He's also got 6 blocks here tonight and 9 rebounds. So it's not beyond the realm of possibility that he'll pick up another triple-double.
Well, he has 5 of those blocks and 7 of those rebounds in the second half. So he has had, again, quite a dominant performance in this second half.
North Carolina as a team dominant against the Tigers. Nice feed from Solomon to Henderson, and this time Haywood called for the foul.
Well, that time Haywood had to step towards Solomon and then turn quickly and get back to Henderson, and Henderson didn't stop. He went right to the basket. And lots of times when big guys foul, they foul after they have to help out trying to get back to their own man. Boy, just a tough night all the way around for the Tigers. They cannot get any offense generated at all. They're doing a nice job of the Tar Heels covering up Solomon on the outside, and when the ball goes inside, Haywood is just there swatting everything away.
You talked about, you see this league all the time, and you talked about how sometimes it's the best league in the country, sometimes it's not. Haywood misses the jump hook, but one thing it hasn't really been is balanced, because the spread between the top teams and the bottom teams appears to be as wide in this conference as it is in any major conference in the country. And that's as much of a credit to the top 2 or 3 schools as Henderson gets the dunk on the Solomon feed as it is a statement about the bottom schools. The top 2 or 3 are just so good. Forte misses the reverse. Haywood again.
That's just his strength inside, and he's showing you some really nice hands, being able to catch the ball, and then the strength once he catches it to hold on to it, despite the fact that Henderson is doing everything he can to take it away.
And I do want to backtrack before we give him the triple-double. We have the incorrect rebound number. He's only got 4, but that shouldn't take away from the points and the blocks and the all-round fine effort that he's had here tonight. Lang trying to get involved, uses the left hand this time.
Lang can be very effective inside with either the left or the right hand on that hook, and if you give him time to catch and turn, he's really going to light you up.
6 Tar Heels with at least 9 points tonight, and all the starters are going to be coming out of this game shortly. The second unit is back en masse to check back into this game. McGeese can't get it over Lang, not even close. McGeese from the corner.
Again, there's no inside game. The big guys keep blocking all the shots. It's hard to score if you can't get the ball to the basket.
And now a foul by Henderson on Lang. Frustration building for the Tigers, but the Tar Heels responding well by just turning their backs on it. No Allen's back, or very little Allen's back because of the back problems. Very little from Hobbs because of the foul problems, and that takes away 2 of the major inside weapons for Clemson tonight.
But before you think that this Clemson team is not going to be competitive, keep in mind that they took Maryland right to the end of the game down at Clemson, and they beat North Carolina State at Clemson. North Carolina's got to go down there, and I think they're going to be in for a heck of a game. The Tigers are a team that's I think they're going to give everybody fits in Little Jump.
Again, a nice ovation this time for the starters as they go out, and the second unit comes back in.
And you want to know why the offense for Clemson is struggling? Well, they've turned the ball over 19 times. North Carolina has 8 steals and blocking 8 shots. Wow.
Carolina in a rout. Big night for the big fella underneath. Brendan Haywood leading the way.
Beauty, adventure, drama. All these and more can be yours in the wonderful world of art. And with this free art test from Art Instruction Schools, you can find out if you have the interest and desire needed to become a serious art student. To get your free art test without cost or obligation, call this toll-free number. Don't delay. Call this toll-free number now. Call 1-800-633-3400.
Discover the amazing hitting secrets of America's finest baseball school in Teaching the Mechanics of the Major League Swing 2. Tommy Mansky's powerful teaching video that features the same revolutionary techniques that have produced baseball world's back-to-back-to-back AAU national championship teams. Parents, players, and coaches have been simply amazed at their students' rapid week-by-week improvement. These award-winning techniques benefit players of all ages and ability levels and make a valuable addition to any coach's library and a great gift. At just $29.95, call now.
Morning. It's Monday. Yep. Monday!
Yeah, it's Monday.
You can love Mondays, too.
Enter ESPN's Big Monday Challenge, presented by Bud Light. College hoops fans predict the winners of ESPN's Big Monday matchup. The champ will take home a digital home entertainment center from Circuit City. To enter ESPN's Big Monday Challenge, presented by Bud Light, log on to ESPN.com and TGIM.
You're not gonna believe this. Guess what? It's Monday.
Back here at Chapel Hill, Carolina leading Clemson 79-41. Women's NCAA action Sunday on ESPN2. A couple of ranked teams getting started at 1 Eastern. Number 7 Iowa State, number 19 NC State, and then the second game is number 15 Oklahoma taking on the ACC's leading scorer, LaQuanda Barksdale in North Carolina, right here in the Smith Center. ESPN is your home for the Women's NCAA Basketball Championship. Julius Peppers and friends, the second unit back in there, you would expect for the duration tonight. Terrific performance by everyone who has touched the floor for the Tar Heels.
It has been as dominating a performance as you'll want to see.
Solomon finally gets an open look and maybe too much time to set his feet.
Well, he has not been that open the entire game. Even early in the game when he was scoring all those points, there was more defensive pressure there. Brian Morrison ran into about 4 screens and simply couldn't get out on him. Again, they put that kid in the game, and he's a freshman. He probably doesn't know he can't guard Will Solomon, so he just goes out and does it.
Justin Braddock at the line. This is the front end. Hobbs with the rebound, blocked from behind. Hobbs again, and finally the first basket of the night for the kid from East Chapel Hill. Owens from the wing. Carolina with a season high in 3-point field goals. They've got a dozen here tonight.
And with their size inside, their ability to run the court, if they're going to hit that many 3-point shots, it's going to be a long night for anybody they play in here.
Team last year that struggled some by their standards during the regular season as Braddock gets the lay-in from Solomon, but then that unexpected run to the Final Four. Now this year, as you said, they are at the top of their game right now.
And one of the things that's very interesting to me watching North Carolina play, they appear to me to be in tremendous physical condition. You don't see anybody, at least I haven't seen anybody, not tonight, and I've done North Carolina a couple of times, I haven't seen anybody taking themselves out of the game because they need a rest. I mean, they really get up and down and they play hard. And we talked about the bench that Matt Doherty has been able to develop, and of course it helps to have Curry and Peppers there, but they can play a lot of guys, and the guys who come off the bench really do a nice job fitting in. And Hobbs, not the way he wanted to have his return home go.
Did bring down 8 rebounds, but didn't get many minutes because of the foul trouble.
Now, we talked about physical conditioning. Hobbs is a guy, young man, doesn't look to me like he has a great deal of stamina at this point. He plays very well for stretches, but then he's got to sit down. Without Allen's back, he's got to play many more minutes, and when you're tired, you're just not as effective. But he's got no choice. He's got to go out there and play.
Yep. Little push by Scott sent Boone flying.
And that really, I think, is that ball hit the official out of bounds, and Gerald Boudreau is going to get it. Matt Doherty telling his guys to go pick up the ball. Now, if the ball hits the official and the official's inbounds, then it's a free ball. Sure. But if the official's out of bounds, then the ball's out of bounds.
Nowhere to go for Solomon. McGee's nice feed inside. Braddock misses an easy one. You can just sense the Clemson players feeling the big bodies around them and worried about putting shots up.
North Carolina's blocked 9.
Boone for 3. Braddock, for a 6'5" guy, plays off the big down there, though, on the defensive end.
Well, the problem is you'd rather have 6'11" guys playing big down there. When you're having 6'5" guys playing big on the inside, you've got a problem.
McGee over Bursticker, won't go down.
Trying to get the ball up there too quickly to avoid the block.
Boone gets a screen.
Oh, nice pass.
Bursticker couldn't catch it. And now both teams will go deeper into their benches with just 4:14 to play.
I think Bursticker was surprised that that ball got all the way through there.
I think we were too.
Well, yeah, and you know, you say nice pass, and it was a nice attempt, but the bottom line on it is a good pass is one that your guy can catch, and if he can't catch it, then it's not a good pass. Will Johnson, Michael Brooker on the floor now for Carolina. Jamar McKnight has returned for Clemson. Will Solomon has gone out. Juan Clifton back in, hits a three. Also on the floor now for Clemson is Walker Holt. His hair looks about the same today as it now as it did during the practice. We were wondering if that's his game look or just burst sticker from Boone. Well, too many weapons. That's 10 North Carolina players who have scored in this game. Yeah, we saw Holt this morning. We wondered if that was bedhead, but that appears to be his regular look. Yep. I'm not quibbling. I'll take it. Another long jumper. McKnight rattles home a three. First sticker again. He's option number one right now. And guys get in the game and get a chance to play. Nice move by Scott at the other end. Now there's nobody, not a whole lot of guys guarding other folks at this point in the game. This is like Midnight Madness. This is a scrimmage right now. Brooker for three. First sticker way bigger than McKnight. Comes down with a rebound. Luke Johnson. Got to squeeze it, and he lost the handle again. Slippery fingers for Johnson, otherwise he had a layup. The tallest Clemson guy in the game is 6'5". And that's who it is right there, McKnight, one of the two 6'5" guys, as he knocks home another jumper. Things getting a little more respectable in the score department because of the outside shooting from Clemson here in the last couple of minutes. Now, you always know you're in trouble when the announcers are taller than all the guys on the court. 30-point lead is still for Carolina. We talked about the two big names coming into this game, at least the two leading scorers. And Solomon had 15 points in the first 12 minutes of this game, but then he only had one layup in the second half after the issue was really decided. Forte didn't score a ton, but he didn't have to score a ton tonight because everybody shared the offense for Carolina. And it's been a nice job by North Carolina. You get a look at Joseph Forte sitting on the bench, obviously very pleased. But what North Carolina was able to do against Will Solomon is prevent him from getting shots. He had 9 shots in the first 12 minutes of the game and only 2 shots in the last 8 minutes of the first half. And he has only had 5 shots in the second half. It's the entire third unit into the game now for Carolina. Jonathan Holmes is on the floor, Jim Everett, and this is Orlando Melendez missing the three. And you want to talk about North Carolina and the development of their team as the season has gone on. And I don't mean this in any way to be demeaning of Jonathan Holmes, but early in the season he was playing a lot of minutes at point guard. And he's a very enthusiastic player, but he's not a guy who's going to get it done at point guard in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Tony Stockman with that quick trigger release, an unusual looking shot, but he gets it off in a hurry. And as the season goes on for Clemson, they're really looking for more offense from a guy like Juwan Clifton and Tony Stockman. They just have to develop some options other than Will Solomon. Looking for Everett inside. Shot clock under 10. Johnson has it blocked. Gets it back. Stockman, another long look, and Clemson shooting lights out right now. Way too little, way too late, but knocking down 3 after 3, and that one actually a long 2 for Stockman, but outside jumpers all over the place for the Tigers. Everett inside. Everybody getting in on it for the Tar Heels. I think you described it very well. It's almost like the Midnight Madness scrimmage right at the moment. The guys just running up and down. Yep. But for North Carolina, those guys that you get a look at right now, a job very, very well done. Clemson's problems in Chapel Hill well documented, and the problems, again, are not any particular building. It's been the guys wearing the white shirts against the Tigers in Chapel Hill, and they have done it again to Clemson. It will be 47 in a row. Don't forget Awaken Maryland coming up 10 minutes from now here on ESPN. Mike Patrick, Dick Vitale in College Park. The travel is called.
Will Johnson, and will step aside with 41 seconds to play in a game that's long since been over. Carolina leading Clemson by 29.
You keep an eye on the websites your kids are looking at. You make sure your wife's cell phone battery is fully charged. And you haven't missed a day of work in 12 years. So it comes as no surprise that your auto parts are AC Delco. When the right way is the only way. AC Delco Automotive Parts.
Office Maxims from Office Max. At Office Max, we know what it takes to succeed, and we've got it, all at guaranteed low prices. Over 1,000 superstores and over 30,000 items online. Office Max, you supply the ambition, we'll supply everything else.
The Lithuanian sensation, Darius Songaila, getting ready to lead Wake Forest into Maryland. That game coming up just moments from now. For now, let's go back to Dan and Dan in Chapel Hill.
Dave, thank you. Here in North Carolina with a 90-61 lead on Clemson. Going to make it a 47 in a row over the Tigers here in Chapel Hill. And more relevantly, they'll go to 14-2 on the season. 4-0 into the ACC. Looking better and better. They're coming off a 30-point out-of-conference win over Marquette. And boy, they look powerful, deep, in great shape, as you mentioned. They're big. They can shoot the ball. They seem to have solidified things at the point. They don't appear to have many weaknesses right now.
No, not right now, and they're really in a good stretch. And I'll tell you what, Ronald Curry and his ability to knock down that three is going to stretch the defenses out wide.
Orlando Melendez.
Those are the kind of athletes they're bringing on with like the third team.
Stockton, no, and how about that? DeJuan Clifton. Bit of an athletic follow himself. Clemson hung around for the first half, thanks in part to Will Solomon's 15 early points. But as soon as the second half began, Carolina took over. Everybody's still hitting the floor, just 2.5 seconds to play.
And there you go. You're up by almost 30 points. There's 2.5 seconds to go, and that guy's got him playing so hard. Matt Murray, the guys are diving after the ball at midcourt.
They reflect his personality, don't they, right now? Intense and giving it all. Carolina wins 92-65 to defeat Clemson for the 47th consecutive time here in Chapel Hill. For Dan Bonner, I'm Dan Shulman. Thanks for joining us tonight. Coming up next, it's Wake in Maryland from College Park right here on ESPN, just minutes away. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Carolina beats Clemson 92-65. Now back to the studio. Let's rejoin Dave Remsen.
Dan, thank you.